All right, welcome to Tech Talk Central. I'm Nathan.
And I'm Sarah.
And you've joined us for another deep dive, getting into some tech.
That's right. We're going to get geeky.
So today we're looking at two really interesting compact PC speakers. Those of you out there, if you're looking to upgrade your computer audio and ditch that, maybe that basic soundbar that came with your monitor, or you're just looking for something with a bit more punch.
Yeah, a little bit more clarity, maybe. A little more oomph.
Yeah, exactly. We're talking about the Edifier M60 and the Audioengine A1.
That's right. And we've gone through all the specs, all the info, the descriptions on Amazon.
Oh, yeah. We've been digging deep into the reviews, seeing what people are saying.
Trying to get a real sense of what these speakers are all about.
Exactly. And, help you folks out there figure out which one might be right for you.
Yeah, because there's a lot to unpack here.
So we're going to start with the Edifier M60. And the first thing that jumps out at me is the design. It's very compact, like almost surprisingly so.
Yeah, almost like phone size.
Yeah, about the size of a phone. So, if you're tight on desk space, these things are like perfect.
Definitely. Real estate is valuable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they also come with these cool aluminum stands.
Oh, I love those stands.
Yeah, angled at 15 degrees. So they tilt the sound upwards, like right at your ears. And I think that makes a big difference when you're sitting right in front of them.
It really does. It's going to reduce those reflections, off your desk and stuff.
Yeah.
It's for a cleaner sound.
Much clearer. Now, as far as the audio power goes, these things pack a punch. Like, they're small, but they put out 66 watts RMS, which is a lot.
That's a lot of power. Way more than, like, your typical soundbar.
Way more.
Yeah.
Especially, those kind of entry-level soundbars. And it uses a separate driver setup. So you've got a 1-inch silk dome tweeter for the highs.
Yeah, those crisp highs.
Yeah. And a 3-inch aluminum diaphragm driver for the mid and low frequencies. So you're getting really good coverage across the entire frequency range.
I always love silk dome tweeters. They have a nice smooth sound.
Yeah, they're really good. And all of this is powered by a Class D amplifier.
Oh, very efficient.
Very efficient. And it runs really cool, too, which is great for something this small.
Yeah, you don't want it getting too hot on your desk.
No, definitely not. Now, getting a little deeper, under the hood, so to speak, the M60 has full digital processing Class D amplification. It's high-res audio certified, which is really important if you're, if you care about sound quality.
And that's both wired and wireless, which is impressive.
Yeah, for both wired and wireless, so it's covering all the bases there. It also has a built-in DSP, a digital signal processor, and that basically manages a lot of things, like crossover between the different drivers.
Right, so it makes sure that each driver is getting the right frequencies to play.
Exactly. And it also has dynamic range control, so that helps prevent distortion, especially at higher volumes.
So it kind of like smooths things out, makes it more enjoyable to listen to.
Yeah, it really cleans things up. Now, as far as connectivity goes, these speakers, they have all the options.
Yeah, they really are, fully loaded.
They've got Bluetooth 5.3. That's the latest version. And for you Android users out there, it has LDAC.
Oh, yeah.
So that means you can stream some seriously high-quality audio.
Super high quality, up to 990 kilobits per second.
Wireless, so pretty impressive. It also has a USB-C port, which is, becoming the standard.
Which is nice, yeah.
Yeah.
More and more devices are using USB-C.
Yeah. And then, of course, it has the traditional AUX input as well if you need it.
It's for those legacy devices.
Exactly. Now, for controls, it has a touch panel on top. It's cap sensitive, has a really nice backlight that kind of adjusts to the ambient light, which is a nice touch.
It's very futuristic looking.
Yeah, very sleek. But then it goes even further. It has an app, the Edifier Connects app.
Oh, yeah.
And you can use that to really fine-tune the sound. You can customize the EQ. You can control playback.
It's pretty powerful, actually.
Yeah. A lot of functionality there. Now, we looked at what people are actually saying about these speakers.
Yeah, because user reviews are gold.
They are. I mean, that's where you really get the truth.
Yeah.
And people seem to love these speakers.
They really do.
The sound quality is consistently praised.
Yeah.
People are talking about the balance across the frequencies, clear vocals and instruments. Also the build quality. They're very well built.
Yeah, they feel sturdy.
They do.
Yeah.
Especially at this price point, you're getting a lot of quality.
Definitely. And those stands are a real plus.
The stands are a big deal.
Yeah.
Getting that angle right is really important.
Especially if you're sitting, close to them at your desk.
Right. And the LDAC connectivity, people are loving that. Size-wise, most people felt they were good for their desk setup.
Yeah. Although some people thought maybe they were a little bigger than they expected.
Yeah. Pictures can be deceiving sometimes.
True.
But I mean, overall, very positive feedback.
Very.
There were a couple of minor complaints. Some people weren't crazy about the touch controls.
Yeah, some people prefer those, like, tactile buttons.
Right. And a few mentioned the speaker wire connecting the two speakers is a bit non-standard, so that was a bit of a quirk.
Yeah, not a deal breaker, but just something to be aware of.
Right. So that's the Edifier M60.
Definitely a strong contender.
Now let's move on to the Audioengine A1.
All right, let's switch gears.
So the A1, it's also trying to deliver that big sound in a small package.
Yeah, they really emphasize that desktop shaking 60 watts of audio.
Yeah, and they also focus on how clean the sound is. Not just loud, but clear.
Clarity is key.
Absolutely. And to get that sound, they're using custom hand-built wood cabinets.
Oh, yeah, wood is, like, classic for speakers.
Yeah, it's a traditional material, but, for good reason. It just, sounds warmer, richer, more natural than plastic or metal.
It just has that certain something.
It does. And wirelessly, it uses Bluetooth with aptX.
Another high-quality codec.
Yeah, another high-quality codec. So you're getting really good wireless sound, and they have an impressive range, up to 100 feet.
That's pretty far. You could walk around your house with that.
Yeah, you could. As far as wired connections go, it just has a simple AUX input.
So nice and straightforward.
Yeah, nothing fancy there. But they do highlight CD quality audio in their marketing.
Meaning they're aiming for, like, really accurate reproduction of your music?
Yeah, trying to preserve all the details, like as if you were listening to a CD. And it's custom tuned by musicians.
Oh, that's always a good sign.
Yeah, it means they're focusing on that, musicality and natural sound.
So they want it to sound good for, actual music listening.
Exactly. Now, the A1 uses 2.75-inch aramid fiber woofers.
Aramid fiber, that's strong stuff.
It is. Very stiff, lightweight, good for that mid-range and bass.
Yeah, keeps things tight.
Yeah. And then it has 0.75-inch silk dome tweeters for the highs, just like the Edifier.
Always a good choice.
Yeah. And this is all powered by a Class AB amplifier.
Now, Class AB, that's a more traditional amplifier design.
It is. It's often known for, warmer, more natural sound.
But it's not quite as efficient as Class D.
Right. But it has that kind of classic audiophile sound.
Which some people really appreciate.
Yeah. And it also has a dedicated subwoofer output.
Oh, that's a nice option.
Yeah. So if you want to add a subwoofer later on, it's easy to do. Now, we looked at the reviews for the A1, and they were a little more mixed than the Edifier.
Yeah. A bit more of a spread there.
A lot of people did praise the sound quality. They said it was really good for the size.
Yeah. And they liked how easy it was to set up.
Very plug and play. The design is really sleek, and people felt like it was a good value.
It's definitely a good-looking speaker.
But there were some concerns about the build quality.
Yeah, some reports of units, not lasting as long as people hoped.
Right. And the Bluetooth connectivity was hit or miss for some people.
Yeah, some disconnections, some dropouts.
And a lot of people felt like the bass was a bit lacking.
Yeah, and that it really needed a subwoofer to shine.
Right. So kind of a mixed bag there.
Interesting.
So now let's kind of bring it all together.
Head to head.
Yeah. Head-to-head comparison. Both the M60 and the A1, they're both trying to be an upgrade from your basic soundbar.
Right. A noticeable step up.
But they have different approaches. The Edifier M60 is really pushing that high-resolution audio using LDAC, all the digital processing.
Very tech-forward.
Yeah, very high-tech. The Audioengine A1, it's more about that traditional sound, the wood cabinets, the aptX Bluetooth.
It's kind of like old school meets new school.
Yeah, exactly. And in terms of connectivity, the Edifier M60, it's got more options.
More versatile. Yeah.
It's got the USB-C, Bluetooth, AUX, the app control.
The A1 keeps it simple.
Yep.
Bluetooth, AUX, and that subwoofer output.
Right. So it really depends on what you need.
Yeah, what your priorities are.
Design-wise, they're also quite different.
Visually, yeah.
The M60, very modern with the stands and the touch controls.
The A1, more classic.
Yeah. The wood cabinets, more understated.
Just plug it in and go.
And in terms of what people are saying, the Edifier M60 seems to have a stronger track record.
Yeah. More consistent positive feedback.
People are really happy with them.
Yeah.
With the Audioengine A1, there's more of a, some people love them, some people have some issues.
A little bit more of a gamble.
Yeah. So it really comes down to what you're looking for.
Exactly.
So let's recap one last time.
Okay, bringing it all home.
If you want to upgrade your PC audio from a basic soundbar, both the Edifier M60 and the Audioengine A1 are good options.
Definitely worth considering.
The M60 is more feature-rich, potentially higher fidelity, all that digital processing, LDAC.
The A1 is more about that traditional sound, a little more streamlined.
So it really boils down to, do you want the latest tech and all the features?
Or are you looking for something a bit more classic?
So we hope this has helped you understand the differences between these two speakers. Obviously, the best way to choose is to hear them for yourself. But we hope we've given you a good starting point.
Yeah, good foundation.
So, to find the latest prices and deals, be sure to check out the links in the description below. And if you found this comparison helpful, please subscribe to our channel, Tech Talk Central, for more in-depth tech discussions.
We'll see you next time.
See you later.